So here we go. Question number 1. So it says, when writing a geometric proof, which angle relationship could be used to justify that two angles are congruent? So if you look at all the multiple choice answers, what's good is that we can use elimination, which I've told you over and over again is a great strategy when you're taking the SAT or any standardized test. Get rid of the distractors. So let's do that. So if we look at the answer number 1, which is supplementary angles, let's just draw some supplementary angles. Here's some supplementary angles. I know it's supplementary because A plus B equals 180. Now, I know by looking at these two angles that they're not congruent. So this means this is wrong. Okay? Adjacent angles. Adjacent angles are angles that share a common ray. Well, here's the common ray. These two angles are also adjacent to each other. And they are also still not congruent. So this is also false. This doesn't work. Now, a linear pair is also a set of angles that adds up to 180. These two angles add up to 180. They are a linear pair, and again, they are not congruent. So now we need to draw vertical angles, and some of you are probably saying, hey, it has to be vertical angles, and you're right. And that's because vertical angles are angles that share a common point. That's it. An angle A and B share a common point, and they're always going to be congruent. So angle A is congruent to angle B, so our answer has to be 4. Question number 2. Lines M and N are in plane A. What is the converse of the statement? And here's the statement. It says, if lines M and N are parallel, then line M and N do not intersect. The converse says very easily, if Q, then P. So we just need to flip it around. So we're looking for the one that has been switched. So I'm looking for lines do not intersect as the first part of the statement. So I'm eliminating 1. I'm eliminating 2. I'm looking for the exact same words, and that's in 4. It's flipped around, so item 4 works. Question 3. A gardener has 26 feet for fencing. To find the width of the rectangular garden, the gardener uses this form. Perimeter, and perimeter equals 2L plus 2W, and that should make sense to you, where P is the perimeter, L is the length, W is the width. The gardener wants to fence a garden that is 8 feet long. How wide is the garden? So what they're asking you to do is to solve the equation and justify each step. So that's what you're being asked to do. So you want to look at what happened with the problem. Here they solved it, and here's step 1. What's the justification? How do you get to step 1? And then if you carry through the problem, how do you get to step 2? So let's look and see what actually would happen. So if I look here, I'm trying to figure out where did all these numbers come from. Well, it looks like we actually substituted in numbers that we know. And that's exactly what we did. So that is the substitution property for option 1. So that automatically eliminates the answers B and the answers D, because the first step is not substitution. All right, so now we go back to it. We're going to look at item 2. And item 2 is 10 equals 2W. How do we get here? What's actually happening here? Oh, we're actually using division here. We're dividing both sides by the same thing. So we're using the division property of equality. So that automatically makes our answer A, and we're done. Question number 4. What compound statement is true? Again, we're looking for compound statements. If it's an and, we know it's got the hat. And for ands to be true, both parts have to be true. If it was an or, well, for ors, we only need one true in order for a statement to be true, because it says or. So let's see what happens. Let's evaluate these. A triangle has 3 sides and a quadrilateral has 5 sides. We know that this part is true, this part is false. So this statement is false. The next one, a triangle has 3 sides if and only if a quadrilateral has 5 sides. Well, that's also false, because the second part is false still. If a triangle has 3 sides, then a quadrilateral has 5 sides. Well, we know that this is true, but again, this is false, and it's an and. Finally, a triangle has 3 sides, true, or a quadrilateral has 5 sides, false. But with or, this statement is true, so the last one is true. Finally, we arrive at our last problem. Problem number 5. It says solve the equation 4x minus 6 equals 34, writing a justification for each step. So here's my first equation. And how do I get here? From 4x minus 6 to 34, I add 6 to both sides. So I'm using the addition property of equality. Perfect. APOE. Then, well, I get 4x equals 40. How do I get to x equals 10? Oh, I divide by 4. So now I've used DPO, division property of equality, and I'm finished. So again, tonight while you're reviewing and preparing, you want to make sure that you understand patterns. You understand logic. You understand how to do a 2-column proof. Practice. Re-whisk. Re-whisk. And I will see you tomorrow.